I'm gonna miss 2020, said no one ever. Did you feel more stressed than usual this year?
You look a little stressed.
Oh, I'm stressed.
Of course you did. And hey, I'll admit it, I've been completely stressed out. 2 kids under 5 years old in the midst of a pandemic equals not doing a video in 9 months. So sorry it's been a while. But soon it will be 2021, and hopefully in a few months, we'll all be getting a nice injection of serenity. And as I look back, there are times that I was calm, playing with my children, going to the beach, and looking at a watch. But not every watch. I have found that there are watches that are more calming than others. A personal Calgon, you might say, momentarily taking you away from your worries. Here are 5 kinds of watches that I think fit that bill. And I'm picking 5 because, well, naming any more than that starts to stress me out. Number 1. A watch with a manual wind movement. Those that have a watch with this kind of movement can probably attest that there's something just therapeutic about taking a moment to stop and wind a watch every day. It's a fantastic practice of mindfulness. And luckily, you can find tons of vintage watches that have a manual wind movement. For me, it was my vintage Hamilton military watch that helped me keep my cool. Number 2. And speaking of cool, how about a cool blue dial? It is said that colors can have a psychological effect on people, and a blue color brings about a feeling of calm.
Us. It's science.
As a fan of watches with a relaxing blue dial, I'd say that I agree with that notion. Plus, I just like the color blue.
I'm afraid I just blew myself. There's got to be a better way to say that.
For me, Grand Seiko by far makes the best blue dials. But if you can't afford that, one of the coolest blue dials I've seen was just released in the Retromatic by the Brew Watch Company. And it has the added bonus of reminding you of a good cup of coffee. Win-win. Number 3. Since we're on the topic of winning, what about a watch that wins the most amount of wrist time? In a world of so many different watches, it may be difficult and even stressful to decide which one you're going with for today. But you can eliminate that decision by having a watch that you never have to take off. Something that you'll never tire of looking at and can withstand anything that comes at it, whether that be a tough natural environment, children, or a ton of Lysol wipes. Rolex naturally comes to mind here, but now that even entry-level steel watches have become a speculative investment, how about a few other options? Like the Tudor Black Bay 58 or the Halios Fairwind. And if you truly want to not give a damn about what your watch goes through, the G-Shock Full Metal Series is just waiting for you to use and abuse in the most fashionable way. Number 4. You know what's also stressful? Checking the time in general. Pandemic or no pandemic, how many times have you caught yourself incessantly checking the time, with your blood pressure rising every single time that you check it? I'm sure it's a lot. Well, what if you had a timepiece that just ever so slightly made it more challenging for you to quickly process the time when taking a glance at it? Sounds counterintuitive, I know, but I swear to you, having a watch that tells time in a non-traditional way really does help to slow down time and calm you down. To name a couple examples, Meistersinger has done this for years with its one-hand watches. And so has Louis Erard with their regulator watch. And if you really want to stop time, my favorite watch in this category is the Hermès Le Temps Suspendu, which literally suspends time until you want to start it again. There's something so incredibly charming about the concept of controlling time instead of it controlling you. Number 5. But of course, we don't always have control, do we? This year was a prime example of that. And sometimes you just need a watch to make you smile. Something that reminds you that no matter what happens, life is going to be okay. It's probably not a surprise for anyone, but for me, that's a Snoopy watch. I've already said a lot about my own Speedmaster Snoopy, but for a lot less, you can have a Timex Marlin with that famous beagle, and a reminder of what receiving a nice hug felt like at a time that we need to be reminded of it. Well, that's my list. Happy holidays to you and yours, and I hope I get to see you in person in the new year. And I hope that this can be a beginning of another series of videos. Until the next time, I'd love to hear if there are any watches that have helped you keep calm or have gotten you through a tough time like this pandemic. Please feel free to reach out or include your story in the comments below.